What's up in War Eagle War Report family? It's your guy, Ike Jones. We are here with another great edition of the Morning Drop. Today, two Tiger targets declare their commitment status and where they want to go. We're going to talk about both right here. Y'all know how we do War Report style. Let's drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Report.
Morning Drop. We are back July 5th, a Wednesday, the day after the 4th of July, of course, because that's how numbers work. We know they have the 4th of July and then today being the 5th, sequential order and all those things. But we're here, man. We didn't have a drop yesterday, but hopefully everybody had a great Independence Day, all of that. Had a chance to get some barbecue, what I'm saying? Shout out to our guys over there at Golden's Cast Iron for probably hooking up people with some wonderful grilled delicacies on yesterday. But yeah, man, fireworks yesterday all over social media. Started out with, hey, we got a 4-star linebacker. Then what in the world is this staff doing? They can't recruit. It was crazy. The range of emotions that I saw from Auburn fans yesterday was a little hilarious to me. Actually, I actually laughed a little bit. Anyway, Mike G, man, how we feeling today, man?
Good. I mean, listen, a win, a definite win yesterday
for sure.
And at a position of need, certainly. But the loss also at a position of need for the future. So you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, you're going to get involved in these high-profile recruiting battles, and at the end of the day, I think we'll hear what comes out about like what maybe was the deciding factor. Whenever A&M is involved, man, I can't help but think, a super bag got dropped somewhere.
I mean, that's always the assumption when Texas A&M is involved after the class that they pulled in 2022.
They're becoming known for that, right? Yeah. Like they're becoming known for this. So if you're Cam Coleman, man, I just hope he made the right decision for him.
Time will tell.
Yeah, because that program, if they don't start to pull it together this year, may start spiraling, if you ask me. And, things look okay now, but ultimately with the talent that they brought in there and the type of season they had last year, which really is kind of inexcusable. Like your floor always should be bowl game. With the type of talent they've been bringing in, top 7 classes and stuff. Yikes, man! Like I don't know, man. So, and for the one team in the SEC that probably has as much trouble throwing the ball as Auburn did last year, to go there, I'm just like, oh man. At least Auburn I think Auburn made some upgrades in that regard, and I'm not sure Texas A&M did.
I mean, there's the assumption that Petrino is going to help in that regard. But let's start having the conversation with the guy that did land at Auburn. We're going to give some love here to our guy, D'Angelo Barber, linebacker out of, let me make sure I get this right, Pinson, Alabama, Clay Chalkville High School, 2024 class. So he will be committed as Auburn's next commit out there. 6'1", 220-pound. D'Angelo Barber. You know anything about this young man, the 4-star out of Clay Chalkville, Pinson, Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a really good pickup for Auburn. You mentioned his measurables. He cited Coach Hugh Freeze, right? Like, as the main reason why he's making this decision. So obviously, Coach Hugh Freeze is active in the recruitment of these players. Which I think is a good change for fans who felt like the last head coach was not as active in the recruitment of players. Right. So that relationship, I think, runs pretty deep, and that's great for them, man. Coach Aldridge was also recruiting him. Talking about another in-state player.
Right.
And we have talked repeatedly about the importance of Hugh Freeze recruiting out of his backyard first. And getting the kids in the backyard, too many of them, man. Like, I mean, even like average athletes were going other places. It was crazy what was happening. And I think that they're starting to reverse that trend, which is also good. So he's Auburn's 9th commitment in the 2024 class. It comes in at linebacker, like you said, 6 foot tall, 221 pounds. He's ranked 60th in the country at linebacker, right? And he's the 24 overall recruit in the state of Alabama. So, like I said, this is a kid who has talent, and definitely was going to choose someplace close to home. He decided Auburn was the place, and I think Auburn is happy that he made that choice.
Yeah, listen, this is a guy that I think that they needed to get as far as crossing off big names on the board. Did a great job. The defensive staff for Auburn, I feel like it doesn't really matter who the head coach is. Whoever the defensive staff has been able to get guys. Like, we've been bringing in 4 or 5-star talent along the defense for decades. It's the offense that we're trying to figure out how to crack through the ceiling on. So D'Angelo Barber is definitely a guy who's moving Auburn in the right direction as far as the level of talent. Still, the average star rating or the average overall rating for this class is high. Number of commits isn't super high or where people want it to be, but the average rating for each of these kids has been something that this staff can definitely hang their hat on and say, hey, we're bringing in quality talent at the top of the cycle, and then we'll figure out, the rest as it goes along. Hadn't mentioned, but, Khalil House being another person that committed recently elsewhere. Won't belabor that too much because we got a lot to talk about tonight. I won't dive into the Khalil House commitment to Stanford, but we will give props to D'Angelo Barber for making his commitment to the good guys. Looking forward to seeing what he can do for the team in the years to come. Any other thoughts on Barber before we get back to talking about Cam Coleman?
Yeah, I talked with the guys at the Uptempo podcast this week about the run game. And we were talking, over under on yards per game allowed on the ground. And I really felt like bolstering linebacker is going to be super important. How many times have we watched linebackers choose the wrong gaps, in the last 2 years? Let running backs literally walk into the end zone. It's got to be. This is an area of improvement for Auburn. I think outside of offensive line and quarterback, linebacker definitely was one of those places where they needed to just make some improvement. I mean, they got to get better.
Right.
So, Hugh Freeze's message about how we need dudes, definitely at linebacker. I think this is a great pickup, and I'm just happy to see them attacking areas of need first. Right. The places where you need guys. Right. So, like, you're not stacking a bunch of players at a position where you already have talent. You're going after positions where you have a need, and linebacker is definitely one of them. So this is encouraging.
Yeah, roster management, man. We've remarked on roster management over and over again about how you're able to make sure that you're replenishing in places where they need to be replenished, and solidifying or getting the room more competition in places where you feel good is a difficult thing to do in this day, man. Like, where the way the transfer portal is, so you've just got to stack talent, man. There's just no two ways about it. And we've talked about how specifically at certain positions, like quarterback and really like at linebacker, where after you get past the 1 deep, Auburn has just not been sufficiently stacked with talent in order to be able to be competitive beyond an injury. An injury for 1 or 2 people. We looked at Zacoby McClain in that he wasn't injured, but he was out of that game due to the targeting call at the end of the Penn State game. And we were like, man, our linebackers suck. Yeah. It's basically Zacoby McClain out here cleaning up everybody else's messes. So we've got to get more guys in the room so that we don't end up with another situation like that. Roger McCrary goes out of that secondary. Well, thankfully, we got DJ James to come in and replace him. But it seemed as if we go back to the Iron Bowl when Roger McCrary had the lower leg injury, not sure exactly what was going on with him in that game. Our secondary looked different without him out there in that game. And that's just 2 guys that basically were holding our defense together in 2021 with duct tape, right? You strip those 2 guys out of there, everything seemed to start falling apart. And so we can't be in that position routinely where past the 1 deep, there's nobody on this team that's actually out there that can contribute.
You make a great point about Zacoby. God, that defense looked awful when he went out. They could not stop anything.
Right.
I mean, it looked like they were out there trying to stop the wind, bro. Like, it was awful. It was terrible to watch. So build depth, right? Develop talent, make sure you got you guys at that position. But it was nuts how one position on defense, and like you're in danger of losing to Georgia State.
Right.
Right. Like,
Which,
good
listen,
God.
the offense should have put up more points. We get
So,
that.
yeah,
right?
we
The
get it.
defense shouldn't have given up the stuff they were giving up. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, but still, like, yeah, wow, man. This is a great pickup. I like this kid, man. I think his tape looks great. I think these guys know what they're doing in recruiting efforts. It's gonna really, for this staff, success is really gonna be about how they game plan. A lot of coaches fail before the field.
Right.
I'll say that again. A lot of coaches fail before the field. Before the clock starts, they're done because they don't have the guys to compete. And it's a foregone conclusion. And every time you turn on the TV and you see some crazy line, that's another coach that failed before the field.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, man, if they can get within 35 points, they cover. Yeah, you're done. You don't have a chance. Auburn, I'm going to be interested to see what these lines look like, man, for Hugh Freeze as the season goes on, because I think Vegas will tell you a lot about the job that they think that he's doing there on the Plains and the level of talent versus his peers.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting.
Definitely will be interesting to see. All right. So I know everybody wants to talk about Cam Coleman a little bit more. We'll get into that. Make sure you share the video, get some more people involved in the conversation. We appreciate those who have done it. If you haven't already, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. But let's get some final thoughts before we go to the comment section about Cam Coleman. Listen, it is what it is, man. Like, you're not going to win every recruiting battle, but I will say that I'm not super surprised by this, despite a lot of people saying that they felt good about him and predicting, crystal balls or whatever. I didn't feel really great about Cam Coleman coming this direction. But hey, we've got other guys in the class that we've got to focus on now. And hopefully this staff, and I know this staff has going ahead and shifted their focus elsewhere, but I don't think that the whole situation is done with Cam Coleman. I think they're going to continue to recruit him, and let's see what happens as we get into the actual signing period.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this, Ike. So I'm going to try to articulate my final thought here in a way that is appropriate. You ever had that girlfriend that's like, everything happens for a reason, right? Like, no, you never dated that girl. Don't let me. So that's how she talks too. This may have been the right decision for Auburn. And this is, man, like I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like, this is why it's been the right decision for Auburn. Hugh Freeze is definitely trying to build a culture. And I think that there are some kids that are so talented that you will risk your culture.
Gotcha.
For their talent.
Yeah.
However, I'm not sure if Cam Coleman was a culture fit. And I think that's the best way to say it.
Okay.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair to say that a guy doesn't fit culture wise, and but let me say this: that doesn't mean that Coach Freeze and staff were not that he still wasn't high on their board.
Listen, he wanted him. He wanted, and that's what I'm trying to stress. Like, there are some kids that are so talented, you're like, and we have to take that guy,
right?
We've heard this coach talk about like leadership, and I believe you could be so talented that they can overlook.
Oh, for sure. It happens all the time.
Certain things in terms of intangibles, right? When you talk about things like leadership. I don't think that Auburn has that guy at QB, the one that's so talented that you will overlook things.
Right.
I don't think Auburn has that guy at many positions. Jarquez Hunter and DJ James, right? Maybe the only two guys on this team that you overlook certain things. And we got a situation going on right now in the running back room that may bear that out. So, again, tying this back to my last point here, comes struggling with this because I want to make sure I don't provide any fodder. I'm not sure that this would have been a great culture fit, but I know that if he decides he's going to change, uh, you know, change directions and come back at whatever point, I don't see it happening. That they'll take him.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, because
Yeah,
he's
that talented.
He is that talented. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not gonna be that guy. It's like we don't want him anyway. No.
Yeah.
Auburn wants him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's that good. So A&M got a player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They definitely got a ball player. We will see how things round out with him. What we don't have to worry about, though, is if you got Harmon Mechanical on your side, they can keep you cool during these tight times in the summer where you just want to keep yourself bound to the air conditioning vent, right? Like you just like, man, let me just sit right in front of the AC for the remainder of this day. If you're that type of person and you know you don't want that AC to go out, man, listen, this has absolutely nothing to do with AC, but I was taking a shower this morning, right? And I'm in the shower and my son walks in the bathroom and he turned the lights off, right? So I'm not looking at the light. I'm looking, doing my thing in the shower. I thought the power went out right while I was in there in the shower. And I like panicked for like half a second. This ain't got nothing to do with Harmon Mechanical. This has to do with me thinking to myself, oh no, my power just went out and my air conditioning is about to not be on. Yeah. I thought I was going to melt and I wasn't going to be able to get on the drop, but it was just him coming there, turning the light off. I have no idea why he did that to me. Anyway, but Harmon Mechanical will make sure that you're straight. They can't do anything about your power going out, pay your bills, but they can make sure that your heating and air system is right. So hit them up, harmonmechanical.com. 334-219-0717 is the number to start your initial consultation. They'll get you hooked up if you're in the Auburn, Alabama area. 4th of July just passed, but the sale is still going on. Rapport 20 is where you want to go for the Rogue Shop through July 6th, and you can get a little something off the gummies that they have there. 25 milligram new gummies there. Their most powerful gummies are also live on the site. Make sure you hit them up, rogueshop.com. Use code RAPPORT20 now through July the 6th. So you still have today and tomorrow to take advantage of that. What we are going to do is head to the comment section and hear what you all are talking about in regards to these two commitments, one going Auburn's way, one not. We'll start the conversation off with John Brandon, who says, if Texas A&M had great offensive numbers, but their overall record is mid or less, will they can Jimothy and let Petrino slide into that head coaching position? There's been a lot of speculation that they are setting themselves up to just slide a replacement in there by having Petrino in. What are your thoughts on that, Mike?
Is Bobby Petrino done as a head coach at the college football level?
That's a question I would have for sure.
I mean, is he done? I'm not sure if he is or isn't. But the SEC is a conference that will take chances on coaches that are extremely good coaching minds, but have a past. Is Texas A&M willing to go there? I don't know, but this is a great question about sliding him in, because you're bringing in a guy capable of taking the head guy's job if it doesn't work out.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see. Like I said, if he does a good job, I mean, it's one of those things. If he does a good job, does he save Jimothy's job?
Right.
If he does a bad job, do you fire both of them because he didn't pan out? You know what I mean? Like, it does have.
So I mean, here's the thing: like, if Jimothy doesn't make it through the season, then of course you have an interim coach that you can slide in right there on the staff. But they still have to do a coaching search. The question is, would he be the permanent head coach after that?
Right,
interim for sure. But if Jimbo's gone, then his entire staff might be gone, because if they don't bring in, someone, if they do bring in someone new, that new person gets to hire the staff. So Petrino might not even make it through a new coach, depending on who that new coach is. So yet to be seen around there, but we will see how the season goes. As long as we win at Texas A&M, I don't really care what their record is. Jonathan Boyson jumps in and says, Barber was a great get, especially if we can get Riddick to flip A&M bag at it again. And I definitely understand everybody saying that this is about money and this was a money play, and it very may well be in this situation. I think everybody just automatically assumes when someone picks a university over another university, it was a bidding war that got them there, and sometimes that's not the case. This one, they may very well be the situation. I don't know. Again, you guys who follow War Report know I don't follow recruiting closely enough to have the first clue what this young man actually wanted out of his collegiate career, who he wanted to go play ball for, what were the motivating factors for why he went where he went. There are people who get paid a lot of money. Well, I don't know about a lot of money. There are people who get paid money to do that on a consistent basis and get it wrong all the time because and that are way closer to the situation. I'm not going to be the guy that's going to understand it for you. But what I will say is, to echo Mike G's point earlier, hopefully he made the right decision for himself and his family.
Yeah, I'll say this. There are some people taking a beating right now, Ike, over.
Oh, absolutely getting like
over 60K Coleman.
RKOs
Right?
off the top rope.
Yeah, right.
Situations
There's some
going out
people
there,
taking a
man.
beating based on this. So we'll see how it goes moving forward. If it makes those a little bit more timid about those predictions,
And so that's the thing that's crazy, right? It's like it's your job, right? You have to go out there and you have to make predictions. You can't. I don't like reading a bunch of, well, you will never know. We'll see. Like, of course you don't know. That's why you put a confidence rating on it. How confident are you in this? And then unless you're saying 100% confident, then there's always a chance that it goes in a different direction than what you predicted it to be. And that's the thing that everybody has to remember. And I say this even with commitments. It's not done until they sign with your team. And with the new NLI stuff that just came out, it's not even done after you sign, really. There are still reasons why they could break their national letter of intent and end up somewhere else.
Yeah, it's so like it just makes you wonder though, like what some of these predictions are based on. Because there was a guy, I'm not naming anybody, but like that literally just crystal balled him.
Yes, the day before.
Yeah, right. So in your head, it makes you wonder what was that based on, right? Like because he clearly was going another direction.
Yeah.
So did Cam Coleman just wake up in the morning and it was like, nah, I'm going this way? Now it's possible.
It's definitely possible.
There was some 11th hour event that changed his mind.
That just happened. Who was the kid? Was it Phillips? That just happened with Phillips, who committed to Auburn. Like the day before, 2 days before, there was a crystal ball for Georgia, and then he wakes up a couple of days later and he commits to Auburn. It happens.
Yeah, I would only say that if you are plugged in enough to truly know whether he was coming to Auburn, you should be plugged in enough to know why they don't.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right? If the reasons didn't happen, you should know that and should be able to communicate that at least to some extent. All right. So it's hard, man. Like, dude, it is a hard business. And when we talk about why we partner with our guys at auburnsports.com and say, hey guys, come in and talk about recruiting, this is why. Because we get things from recruits and their parents all the time. I feel comfortable talking about zero of it,
right?
Because of this. There's just no way, man, unless I'm having dinner with them the night before. Too many things can happen with these young guys.
Yeah, it's not a business I really ever myself want to get into. I'm not saying that the War Report will never touch recruiting in the history of this business, because I am not. I don't have a crystal ball for that future. But it's, as we sit today, it's not something I have any desire to do.
Yeah, you know, one person I trust when it comes to this is our guy Dukes.
Yeah, because he's plugged in for sure.
Yeah, he's plugged in, man. And let me tell you something. Even he will tell you sometimes your confidence,
and he gets it wrong.
Yeah, it could be 200, and some things can happen that just nobody foresaw coming. So, yeah, I mean, you got to go out there. I would say maybe take it easy on these guys a little bit.
Impossible. Because people are giving the coaching staff the business for not closing the deal. They're definitely going to give a daggone reporter on some random internet site. And I don't mean to call people random internet sites. I'm just saying, you don't know this. You don't really know Coach Hugh Freeze and the staff, but at least you see them all the time. You don't even know this other person, you've probably only seen a picture of them in their avatar somewhere, or maybe you go and tune into their YouTube show, but you don't know that person. Yeah, they're gonna give them the blues about everything that they get wrong, quote unquote wrong.
Yeah, wow. It's interesting. I just think I find it all highly interesting. So
yeah. John Brannon, it's a gamble to drop too much money in any recruit that has never played in the college game. I guess we didn't get a bid that high.
Yeah,
I
because
get it.
because listen, man, attendance cannot be tied to compensation.
Right.
So if you gave him a bag, he could still back out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's that here. I am not in favor of giving money to anybody before they actually sign, because to your point, that commitment doesn't mean that they're actually coming until they actually show up. They have time to say, I changed my mind again.
Yeah, I wonder, how does that work exactly, right? Like, in the recruiting process, because we're still months out,
right,
from signing day. We're still months out from any recruit being able to actually enroll for this next cycle. And these companies, I'm sure, have talked to them, and these collectives have talked to them, but I don't think they can receive any actual dollars, Ike.
Not legally. That's still illegal for you to pay somebody who hasn't actually, like, especially from your collective. You're not supposed to give them any money before they sign. But you can give them a promise to, or not every promise. You can talk about what you could potentially get, but you're not supposed to actually have any money transactions happening prior to them signing.
Right, because and it would be stupid of you to do that.
It happens all the time, but
because they can back out, they still can go someplace else, and you
don't have any way of saying, man, you there what contract?
The money, right, yeah, and so it just makes me wonder, like, what's gonna blow this up if there is some school out there doing that is taxes after the fact. Some kid is gonna get audited on money he took but never gave back because he decided to go someplace else. School's gonna stay quiet because they don't want to be, the collective's gonna stay quiet about it. And then later on, the IRS is going to come back and be like, you know what? You guys got a problem in college football.
And it's been happening for
large enough sums of money. Yeah, large enough sums of money, for it to get on their radar. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see.
Usually, if you know anything about this, like, until you start making over a certain amount, you usually don't have to worry about being audited by the IRS. Like, they're not looking for they're not looking for the dude who makes $50,000 a year and, cheated on his taxes, right? Like, until you're north of like 120, 130, it's usually not something you have to worry about. And that's combined income as well, too. So if you have a household where, somebody's making 60, is making 80, yeah, like, if you may get audited. But, the single incomes that are like under, in that low, not over six figures, like, normally you just don't make enough money for the IRS to look at you. I just think there's enough money flying around with some of these guys that they are going to be, they're policing people's Venmos now, right? Like, this is gonna be something to keep an eye on here.
Definitely going to be interesting to see where it goes. Listen, man, the bag men have gotten more creative over the years, but the bag men have always existed.
They're coming out of the shadows now, right? Like, they get to come out of the shadows. If there was a bag man in 2010, allegedly, right? Like, he could come out of the shadows. He could be public.
Yeah. He just can't drop the bag before the recruit signs in public. He could just advertise the bag exists right now. So
if there was a bag man, if the bag man could have been public in 2010, like, Auburn might not get Cam Newton because the bidding war on him would have been high, right? Like, there might have been enough money flying around that Auburn doesn't land Cam.
Possible for sure.
Yeah.
James Barnett says, fellas, I'm sick of people blaming the staff for recruits. Free said weeks ago to join the NIL collective. Shout out to On to Victory. For those complaining, my question to them, are you contributing? Just my opinion.
Here's the deal, right? They're doing a great job in recruiting. So we're not sitting here looking at this one miss and then looking at the other nine.
You and I are not. There are people.
Man. Come on, man. You're not doing that. Like, stop. If you're doing that, stop. Yeah, right. They're doing a great job in recruiting. The effort is out there, and that's all you could ask for, man. At the end of the day, you can sell something as hard as you can, And enough recruits have to buy it. And listen, man, somebody's worked in corporate sales. I can tell you, it's hard. Selling something, selling a program, selling an idea. It's a difficult thing to do. And most people who are going to listen to this and that watch the program can't do it. Right. So, I mean, look at the wins, man. Focus on the wins. There are enough wins coming in for this staff that guys should be focused on the wins.
Right. And I think it's hard. I get it. It's very difficult not to get your hopes up about certain situations. And the Cam Coleman situation is one of those where it's hard to not get your hopes up about it when you feel like you're on the doorstep. And then when it doesn't happen, to be disappointed. Your reaction about that disappointment is where I think some people just go too far. Like you can be disappointed and say, ah, man, I really wanted this guy to be in an Auburn uniform. And it don't happen and it doesn't happen. And you can be a reasonable person, say, well, hey, man, they tried hard. We need to get on to the next one. And also understand that he hasn't coached a single game yet, man. There hasn't been a game coached under this. So you don't actually know what's going to happen out there on the field. So this first year of recruiting that they're doing is phenomenal, considering they're selling something without a product.
Yeah, it's no proof of concept. Yeah.
It's hard to sell something when you don't even have a product in hand to show anybody. What you can do is talk about what you've done before. And, hey, we did it, all these other places. We're going to do it here again at Auburn. They don't know that. You don't know that. That's a hard sell job, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think they're doing a phenomenal job in recruiting. I don't have any qualms with what's happening right now under this Coach Freeze staff in the recruits that they're bringing in and the job that they're doing to try to land more guys. I think people just need to calm down. Daniel Moultrie, we're definitely getting Perry Thompson now, in my opinion. It was always going to be tough to land both. Coleman probably going to A&M since we're getting Thompson. So he feels as if Perry Thompson is more so leaning this direction now that it's not a competition of bringing in both of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, you never know with these kids, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe one of them wanted to be the guy, and maybe Texas A&M told Coleman he'd be the guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is out of the realm of a possibility here. Yeah,
we'll definitely see there. Listen, that's another person who has a commitment already somewhere. He's committed to Bama, but he is supposed to be making the trip to Auburn again. So we'll see what happens. Corey Weber jumps in. No way to spin losing Coleman. Just not a good look to miss 5 stars in your backyard.
I agree. I agree that it's not a good look to miss 5 stars in your backyard because of how long it's been happening as well too. So right down the road, bro, Cam Coleman is somewhere 10 miles from me right now, with a commitment to Texas A&M. That's crazy. But I'm going to give Hugh Freeze some time, right, to start to get those Cam Coleman type wins because he just got here.
Right.
This is year 1, man. And like you said, we just mentioned, he doesn't have proof of concept on field. Let him get that on the field. And then if he starts missing or if he keeps missing, we can have another discussion about it.
Yeah. Austin Holland, we'll end on this and maybe we'll talk about this a little bit more. How confident are we that Jimbo and Petrino aren't going to be at each other's throats by week 5? I mean, I'm not confident at all. Listen, we've had Petrino on staff here at Auburn and we know it can get contentious out there. And we know that there's literally no reason why those two very dominant offensive minds won't have some sort of contention over what they want to do offensively. It's just going to be a thing.
Yeah.
It'd be different if I think if Jimbo Fisher weren't an offensive head coach, right, that they wouldn't have points of contention about what they're going to do. But there's going to be some third down call that Petrino wants to make that they're like, hey, man, no, we're not doing that. Call a timeout. They're going to bicker about it. And then somebody's going to win that power struggle on 3rd and 5. There's going to be some 4th down call. I want to go for it. And they're going to be like, no, we're not doing that. Call a timeout. And they're going to bicker. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
absolutely going to happen.
If you don't know what hell Ike is talking about here, a while ago when Petrino was on staff, I was filming a practice where it's called skeleton drill, Ike. So in Skelly, there is no offensive line or defensive line. It's linebackers, DBs, wide receivers, the running back, and the quarterback. And it's a lot of times Skelly is no contact, right? And so Joe Witt was out there with the defense, and Petrino was out there with offense, and Cadillac got the ball. And ran up the middle. It was supposed to be no contact. And Travis Williams, for whatever reason, decided he was going to smack the hell out of Cadillac. So he hits him, and Petrino goes off. And probably rightfully so. He was like, "We're supposed to be no contact." And Joe Witt is like, right? Like he's like, "Screw you, running backs, you put it." And I was with the camera, and I was like, Coach came up and said, "Cameraman, we watched it once in the office and we turned it off, but it was pretty epic." And like the players were separating the coaches. And man, if you ever wondered why those teams were different, it's because the coaches had the fireman. They were different. Yeah. It was, Petrino is an intense guy. He can be an intense guy at times. And it was just so funny watching them just go at it. Right. Like, so I don't know. That was, in that particular practice, Carlos Dansby was out there. Carlos Rogers was out there, right? Cadillac was out there. Jason Campbell was out there. Travis was out there. It was a lot of really good players in that drill. Right. And, the coaches were just like, they had that intense fire to compete. And that's why I think those players had that fire to compete. Started from the top. So it was fun. I never liked Petrino. He wasn't wrong there, but I never liked Petrino. I always thought he was a jerk.
Yeah, I think that those two guys are going to have their problems. They're going to have to figure out how to iron out that situation. Is it going to ultimately be good for Texas A&M? We will see what we will see, but I ain't confident in it right now, man. Yep. Not confident in it. But hey, listen, if it doesn't go well, and those 5 stars that are rolling down there to Aggie land decide that it doesn't feel like a happy home, we here. Come on.
For sure.
All right, man, we're going to get out of here. We appreciate you guys dropping in with us this morning. As always, make sure you hit up our folks at Harmon Mechanical. HarmonMechanical.com is where you need to go. If you have an air conditioning unit and you want to be preventative about it, hit up Harmon Mechanical, 334-219-0717. Always make sure that you hit up our folks at the Rogue Shop, rogueshop.com. For the next 2 days, you still have a chance to take advantage of this through July 6th. 20% off using code RAPPORT20 on the gummies out there. We will be back at you all for the midweek report. So make sure you tune in tonight with us. We'll be talking a little bit more about recruiting. Big Cat Weekend is coming up. We got our preview for that coming up tonight. So make sure that you are locked in with us, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Until the next time, and as always, War Eagle, we are out of here. We'll see you later. Peace.